Hi, my name is Will, and this is my Passion Time project video. And I'm sharing all the information I put on my website. And my question was, what was it like as a U.S. soldier in the Vietnam War? And I included the hardships of Vietnam, because nothing was easy in that war. Nothing's easy in any war, really. Lots of deaths and stuff. And ranks, I'll do the ranks of the soldier first. It's a lot. Some of it's gobbledygookish, but a lot of it is in pretty easy language to read. I don't know what you call that language, or whatever. The first rank is the private, which is an E1. A private, the lowest Army rank, is normally only held by new recruits while at basic combat training, but the rank is occasionally assigned to soldiers after a disciplinary action has been taken. The Army private E1 wears no uniform insignia, which is like a patch, I think. I don't know. Yeah, an insignia, we had it as one of our spelling words. It's a badge. Yeah, it's a badge or distinguishing mark of a military rank, office or whatever. Okay. And the private second class, E2, the private second class, PV2, is the first promotion most enlisted soldiers can earn after completing basic combat training. The private's job is to be to job is be the private's job is be able to apply the new skills and knowledge learned during basic training and continue to learn how to follow orders given by their higher ranked supervisors. Private first class, E3. Private first classes, PFC, are the basic workforce strength and rank of the U.S. Army. PFC is the point in which junior enlisted soldiers begin the transition from apprentice to journeyman by developing technical and leadership skills. Army Specialist, E4. Specialist SPC is considered one of the junior enlisted ranks in the U.S. Army, ranked above Private First Class, E3, and holding the same pay grade as the corporal. The specialist is not considered as an NCO. The specialist job is focused on technical expertise, and they normally have less personnel leadership responsibilities than corporals. They are often promoted to the E4 pay grade due to enlisting. Those enlisting with a 4-year college degree or have certain specialized civilian skills or training can enter BCT as a specialist. Army non-commissioned officers, E4 to E6, like nearly all other branches of the armed forces, the United States Army consider all ranks E4 and above to be NCO. Corporals, E4, are referred to as junior NCOs. However, they are given the same respect as any other NCO. Corporal, E4. The rank of corporal was established in 1775 with the birth of the Army and the NCO Corps, along with the rank of sergeant. The corporal is the only rank which has never disappeared from the NCO Corps. The ranks of corporal has always been placed at the base of the NCO ranks. For the most part, corporals have served as the smallest unit leaders in the Army, principally leaders of teams. Like the grade of a sergeant, corporals are responsible for individual training, personal appearance, and cleanliness of their soldiers. As the command sergeant is major known as the epitome. Okay, I'm sorry. It's a person or thing that is a perfect example of our Princess. She looked the epitome of the epitome of success in the NCO Corps. Sorry if I mispronounced it. The corporal is the beginning of the NCO Corps, as the NCO Corps is known as the backbone of the Army. The corporal is the backbone of the NCO Corps. Information course of the U.S. Army, which is like what it's from. And moving up the Army ranks, normally unit commanders may advance PFCs to corporal once they have met the following qualification: 26 months in service, 6 months time in grade, wearable to 3 months, security clearance appropriate for MOS, which which in which promoted advancement may be based on granting in interim security clearance. I can't say. The interventing in the interim, I'll just keep my fingers crossed. Okay, like in the future, basically. Like the junior enlisted ranks, commanders may advance soldiers in an accelerated basis. Sergeant, which is the E5. Sergeant SGD operate in an environment where the sparks fly, where the axe meets the stone. Although not the lowest level of rank where command is exercised, the level is first at which enlisted soldiers are referred to as sergeant. In all of the grades of the NCO, this one very possibly has the greatest impact on the lower ranking soldiers. Privates, who are the most basically manpower strength and the grade of the Army, generally have sergeants as their first NCO leader. It is the grade sergeant that the privates will look to, for example. Like the next grade, the staff sergeant, the sergeant is responsible for the individual training, personal appearance, and the cleanliness of their soldiers. The sergeant is also responsible for ensuring that each member of their unit is trained to competency in their MOs as prescribed in the appropriate soldier's manual. All government property issued member of the unit is properly maintained and accounted for at all times, and discrepancies are promptly reported. While on duty status, they be ready at all times to report on the location activity of all members of their unit. Their unit is trained to function in its primary mission role. The authority of the sergeant is equal to that of any grade or rank of the NCO. Professionally competent leaders inherently command respect for their authority, and the sergeant must be unquestionably competent in order to carry out the mission correctly, accomplish each task, and care for assigned soldiers. The rank of sergeant is not a position for learning how to become a leader. No apprenticeship here. While certainly the new sergeant will be developing new skills, strengthening the old ones, and generally getting better, he is a sergeant and is therefore no less a professional than those grades of rank to follow. Moving up the arming ranks, unlike the promotion process for privates, specialists, and corporals, promotions to a sergeant and staff sergeant is based on Army-wide competition. The competition is based on a point system which grants points for firing range scores, performing evaluations, physical fitness, education level awards, and promotion board ranking. Corporals and specialists must meet the following basic eligibility criteria to compete. Command recommendation, 36 months time in service, 8 months time in grade. Must graduate the Primary Leadership Development Course, PLDC. Possesses a high school diploma, GED equivalency, or college degree. For the last one, E7, there's a lot of stuff. Well, the sergeant major of the Army is like the last one, actually. Sorry. So never mind what I said. Sergeant first class, the platoon sergeant is the E7. Wait, did I do E6? Oh yeah, the staff sergeant E6. The staff sergeant rank closely parallels that of the sergeant in duties and responsibilities. In fact, the basic duties and responsibility of all the NCO ranks never change. But there are significant differences between the step in the NCO structure and the preceding one. The major difference between the staff sergeant and the sergeant is not, as often mistakenly believed, authority, but rather sphere of influence. The staff sergeant is in daily contact with large numbers of soldiers and generally has more equipment and other property to maintain. The SSG often has one or more sergeants who work under their direct leadership. The SSG is responsible for the continued successful development of sergeants as well as the soldiers in their section, squad, or team. Moving up the Army ranks, SSG candidates must meet the following basic eligibility criteria to compete. Command recommendation, 84 months time in service, 10 months time in grade. Must graduate the Primary Leadership Development Course, PLDC, possesses a high school diploma, GED equivalency, or college degree. Army Senior Non-Commissioned Officers E7 to E9, this is separate from the bullets. Although the Army does not make the official distinction in the rank structure, enlisted ranks of Sergeant First Class and above are E7 to E9 are generally referred to as senior NCOs, and they carry increasing levels of responsibility and demand greater levels of respect and deference. Although there are only three pay grades, the SNCO ranks actually cover 6 separate ranks or designations: Sergeant First Class, Platoon Sergeant, Master Sergeant, First Sergeant, Sergeant Major, Command Sergeant Major, and the Sergeant Major of the Army. Unlike the promotion process for private through Staff Sergeant, unit commander have little to do with the promotion process to the SNCO ranks. These promotions are completely centralized as the headquarters of the Department of the Army, HQDA. There is no minimum time in grade, TIG, requirement for promotion to the Army SNCO rank, but candidates must meet the following minimum time in service, TIS requirements, to be eligible for promotion. Sergeant First Class E7, 6 years. Whoa, that's crazy. Master Sergeant First Sergeant E8, 8 years. That's crazy. Sergeant Major E9, 9 years. Oh, gosh, that's crazy. All right. The Sergeant First Class, Platoon Sergeant. E7. The SFC is the first level at which term in senior NCO properly applies. The platoon sergeant or sergeant first class generally has 15 to 18 years more of military experience and is rightfully expected to bring that experience to bear in quick, accurate decisions that are in the best interest of the mission and the soldier. Depending on experience in billet assignments, the SFC's role may be that of a platoon sergeant or NCOIC, NCO in charge of the section. Platoon sergeant is a duty position, not a rank. The platoon sergeant is the primary assistant and advisor to the platoon leader, with the responsibility of training and caring for soldiers. The platoon sergeant takes charge of the platoon in the absence of the platoon leader. Platoon sergeants teach collective and individual tasks to soldiers in their squads, crews, or equivalent small units. The position title of platoon sergeant is considered key in the command structure of the Army. The platoon sergeant generally has several staff sergeants who work under his direct leadership. During the Vietnam era, the platoon sergeant was affectionately referred to as the Plat Daddy, and although the term has since faded, the role remains the father of platoon. Information courtesy of U.S. Army is what it's from. Master Sergeant and First Sergeant, E8, which you have to be 8 years in the Army in order to be that rank, which is crazy. Man. The Master Sergeant's role and responsibility. The Master Sergeant is the principal NCO at the battalion level and often higher, not charged with all the leadership responsibilities of a first sergeant, but expected to dispatch leadership and other duties with the same professionalism. The sergeant first class's roles and responsibilities. When you are talking about the first sergeant, you are talking about the lifeblood of the Army. When 1SGs are exceptional, their units are exceptional, regardless of any other single personality involved. Regardless of perhaps their rank insignia. He's in the bathroom.
How do you know that?
Tradition, dissipated here. It is the first sergeant in whom almost all unit operations emerge. The first sergeant holds information, instructs platoon sergeant, advises the commander, and assists training in all listed members. The one SG may swagger and appear at times somewhat of an exhibitionist, but he is not egotistical. The first sergeant is proud of the unit and understandably wants others to be aware of his unit's success. The title of address for this grade is not sergeant, but first sergeant. There is a unique relationship of confidence and respect as that exists between the first sergeant and the commander, not found at another level within the Army. In the German Army, the first sergeant is referred to as the mother of the company. The first sergeant and the provider, the disciplinarian, the wise counselor, the tough, unbending foe, the confident, the sounding board, everything that we need in a leader during our personal success or failure, the mother of the company. Information courtesy. All right, the last one. I have to be in the Army for 9 years. The sergeant major's roles and responsibility, the SDM, is key enlisted member or staff elements at levels higher than a battalion. The sergeant major's experience and ability are equal to that of the command sergeant major, but the sphere of influence regarding leaderships is generally limited to those directly under his charge. The command sergeant major roles and responsibilities, enlisted soldiers who attain the distinction of being selected in the Department of Army for participation in the command sergeant major program in the epitome of success in the chosen field in this profession of arms. There is no higher grade of rank except sergeant major of the Army for enlisted soldiers, and there is no greater honor. The command sergeant major carries out policies and standards for the performance, training, appearance, and conduct of enlisted personnel. The command sergeant major advises the initiates recommendations to the commander and staff in matters pertaining to the local NCO support channel. Perhaps slightly wiser and perhaps slightly wiser and more experienced than the first sergeant, the SCM is expected to function completely without supervision. Like the old sage of times past, the command sergeant major's council is expected to be calm, settled, and unequivocally that's what it's like, equivocally. Yeah. Accurate, but with an energy and enthusiasm that never wanes, even in the worst of times. Assignable to any ability in the Army, the CSM is all those things and more of each of the preceding grades of rank. Information courtesy of the user. The Sergeant Major of the Army, E9S. The Sergeant Major of the Army, SMA, is a rank held by only one enlisted soldier at a time. The holder of this rank is the most senior enlisted member in the Army. The SMA's primary function is to address the issues of enlisted soldiers at the Army's highest levels. The SMA is the senior enlisted advisor to the Army Chief and staff and is selected based on his or her outstanding leadership, extensive experience, and ability to communicate both up and down the Army chain of command. The SMA up and down the Army chain of command. The SMA is giving the highest level of honor and respect of any other enlisted soldier. Each SMA's duties are determined by the current chief or staff. However, as a rule, the SMA serves as the Army hierarchy's eyes and ears and keeping the chief of staff abreast and visually any subject that affects enlisted soldiers and their families. And I got it from this website. And the hardships of Vietnam. I know there's a lot of ranks. It's crazy. These are the hardships. No war is easy for those who fight it, and each conflict brings its own challenges. Soldiers in the Vietnam War endured many hardships and faced many problems, some of them seemingly too great to be overcome. Combatants on both sides faced physical challenges posed by the climate, terrain and wildlife of the country. They also struggled with logistical problems as well as the complex political situation in Vietnam. On top of that, the Vietnam War was a conflict with few conventional military objectives. There was no war front to advance, no safe region to defend, not even a well defined theater in which to operate. The Vietnam conflict was a 360-degree war where soldiers, particularly Americans and Westerners, might encounter attacks, ambushes, and booby traps at any place or time. It was a conflict where territory changed hands frequently, people moved freely, and their political loyalties were often unclear. It was shiftless and often vague struggle between a powerful conventional military force and a guerrilla. The definition is a member of a small independent group or taking part in an irregular fighting army and a guerrilla army that operated in the shadows. And I got the information from that. And what I knew before, which I forgot to include, the Vietnam War lasted for 20 years. That tons in weight of bombs were used in the war. That 2.7 people served in the war. 58,220 died in the war. Yeah, that was some of the stuff I didn't concluded, and that's my passion time project.